Day one of Longhorn football practice in 2025. Texas football posted a shot 5 seconds of Arch just running onto the practice field, and it got like 20,000 views in that much time. Yep, the season has kind of sort of began. Orange Bloods live. We will get practice reaction on a hot day in Austin coming up from the guys over there. Jeff Ketchum, Chad Hastings with you here. Jump on in the chat. We appreciate you guys jumping in. Jeff Ketchum, first day of practice. We said it earlier on a show. It's kind of about getting off the bus. How does everybody look and getting things started? But already starting to see a couple things trickling in.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't surprise everybody that the very first piece of video, the very first reaction, the very first thing I think everybody will see on social media on Orange Bloods of practice is Arch Manning connecting with Ryan Wingo on a deep throw. It kind of, I think, is, it's probably the early talking point coming out. We'll see who was lining up with the ones. We'll talk with Anwar Richardson here in a little bit. I know he was going to follow Arch Manning around pretty much all day long. So we'll have full on Arch Mania with regards to first practice. Alex Dunlap will join us later in the show. We know that will be, that'll be the time where we start hearing things like, well, so-and-so lined up with the first team at right tackle and took 73% of the action. You know what I mean? Like, we'll get some nitty-gritty stuff as well throughout the show. But yeah, sometimes it's as simple as Arch and Ryan Wingo playing pitch and catch together. And doesn't matter that there weren't DBs on the field, Chad. Touchdown! Super Bowl, bitches!
Hey, that's it. And also a reminder that sometimes the practice times do get pushed back a little bit, and, schedules get adjusted just a little bit. Also, the reality catch this time of year, like when the coordinators were talking this week, you could just feel that like video game quality of football where it's all perfect right now. Everything's perfect because the reality of actually playing the games hasn't hit. And then today, right as practice is kind of getting going or whatever, I got sent a little message of like, CJ Baxter's in a brace. And it's like, well, I knew CJ Baxter would be in a brace, but it's that extra reality of, oh yeah, these are human beings. There can be injuries. Just ask Florida, as DJ Lagway is already dealing with something. So the reality of everything kind of hits today. And that did get me thinking, Catch, of that room, the running back room, and just how quickly does CJ Baxter feel like CJ Baxter? And is that a guy that Texas will really be able to count on in Columbus? Or is that something where the brakes are going to need to be applied as we go through practice and into that game and realize, like, hey, guys, he's coming off of something, so maybe it's not immediate.
Well, so it's a big knee brace. Like, I'm looking at it right now. Okay. Like, you got the text message, probably because it's one of those robo knee braces that a guy fresh off of an ACL injury probably wears the first time he's in a helmet and taking a handoff from Arch Manning. I think there's going to be a lot of CJ Baxter buzz, and I think it's really interesting and important at the same time that Steve Sarkisian seems to have been backing off of, I think, a heavy set of immediate expectations for Baxter. That it was one of the things you couldn't help but take away from SEC media days was it's a war, not a battle. You know what I mean? It's a long season. We're deep at running back. We're going to be smart. I think all of that is the thing that I think Sark would say on day one of practice with CJ Baxter back on the field, but with a big knee brace, reacclimating himself again. Hey, I'm a Texas football player. And a guy that eventually I think will have an important role in the running backfield for Texas. But there's a ways to go. Alex Dunlap joining us from the 40 acres right after practice. And Alex, you don't look too hot, so
how dare you? I can't believe you just said that to him. Come on.
I don't see any sweat, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe not.
It's not, you know what it is, Alex? You're not fat. So you don't have, when you sweat, it's not buckets.
Is it? Well, these guys are sweating buckets out here today for sure. I mean, it's the first time I've ever seen them. The coaches out here handing these guys out watermelons on the sideline, watermelon slices.
Wow.
Getting ice cold drinks and watermelons. I was about to wander over there and grab one for myself, dude. They gave us a pretty good long portion today that was open, but a lot of special team stuff. But got to definitely see some super interesting things for sure. It's always some surprises at the very beginning of camp that you don't know whether they'll stick or not.
Cash, where do you want to start here?
Well, Alex, just go. If there were some super interesting things, start off with, you got 30 seconds on an elevator. Tell us what's most interesting.
All right. How about I ask you this? If I told you there's somebody that you weren't going to be expecting, it looks like he's going to be super involved on defense, like if you based it on today, a total starter in the secondary, who would you guess?
Roberson.
I mean, yeah, that's what I was going to say, Chad, just because it's it's the wild card answer. But Kobe Black.
Dude, it's
even more random than we thought.
No, I'm trying to find his size and stuff here on the listing. It's Littleton, Grayson Littleton. He was lining up as the starting nickel today. And
really?
For all of it. For not just like the pursuit drills, but also the team walkthrough drills, the scheme specific stuff. Whenever Trey Moore was coming in at the Sam linebacker, in base, and he would come off and they say nickel. It would be Littleton running out there to do it. He is. I'm trying to find. So he's number 29, 6 foot, 180 pounds. He was a guy who was not going to. He wasn't going to be here in the spring, but he was like a late arrival. And, it seems like, Chad, you might be able – like, he was a guy who I think when Coach PK was asked yesterday about guys that could surprise, I think he was the first guy that he mentioned. But, yeah. I mean, he wasn't expecting that.
I was just going through notes for that exact thing. I know when Banks was asked about young guys that had stood out, Littleton popped out of his mouth right away. But, of course, that's on the special team side of things. I was trying to look through notes and see if Littleton was mentioned. But I do feel like I heard that name a couple times yesterday, but not in a way that would make me think that would have been the guy you're mentioning. That's interesting.
Yeah, but he looks good. He looks like a player. He looks good. And
can I tell you, Alex? Let me give you a pop. Let me give you a quiz.
Okay.
That made me instantly think of something related to Texas football. Something that's happened in like the last 3 or 4 seasons. When I say it, it'll probably be pretty obvious, but I'm curious if you thought the same thing. Did that remind you of anything?
Coming out, it feels when you say it, it's gonna hit me like a ton of bricks. But it
just reminds me of Gilbo that first year.
Oh yeah,
when we thought that Jahdae Barron was definitely going to be the nickel,
right?
And then it was like, maybe he's not going to be the starter, or maybe he is, but he's there. He's in that spot. And then we know that it ended up not quite going the way that the usage in workouts and stuff because of injuries and everything else. And Gilbo ends up getting hurt. But, our first taste of Jalen Gilbo is actually really good and maybe better than his recruiting ranking and all of that stuff is. I feel like we showed up day one of like August practice, and it was like Jalen Gilbo's running with the first team nickel, and I don't know what it means, but like that's happening.
Yeah, and they would do this stuff where they're like, all right, ones and threes, stay here, 2s and 4s, go over there and stuff like that. And Littleton's always there with the first group every time with the.
So what was the rest of that first string secondary then?
So it was Manny Muhammad and Jalen Gilbo at the outside corners, Littleton at the nickel, and the safeties were Taff and Jelani McDonald. And
okay, so that's just fascinating.
Yeah.
For how what the cause and impact, like the cause and effect of all of that is McDonald is at safety.
Yeah, it's at safety. He's at safety right now.
Because there's the talk that maybe you move him back to nickel to get Derek Williams back on the field. If the wild card in this is like Grayson Littleton is so talented that like my God, they're going to get him on the field.
Right.
Could that also wild card that you're not quite prepared for? It's not what we've talked about.
Could that also just be Derek Williams needs a little more time?
Well, they said that he's 100% to start. So
Okay.
I mean, he has been out. It could very well be that Littleton is going to be the number 2 nickel once Derek Williams is back. And they said they're not handing this stuff to these guys like today. So Emmett Mosley, the 5th, he's running with the second team. We got an idea of that yesterday talking to Chris Jackson whenever he said that, Parker Livingstone's done everything he needs
That
to
would be
do.
hardcore to put Parker with the 2s on day 1.
Right. And so it's also, they just think about all some big summer kind of like Murad Watson. It's not like he wasn't like they were playing the guys that had been here all spring before him. But dude, Watson looks good. In injuries, they were playing him at what third.
Oh, well, that's all you need to say then. That's all you had to say.
Yeah. So how about this, Catch? If you had to guess, who do you think that the first 2 defensive linemen were?
Interior,
yeah.
Well, the way they talked about it yesterday, I would say Travis Shaw and Alex January.
Travis Shaw and Hero Canoe.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Like, what? Okay.
I mean, you're telling me a lot of things. It tells me, all right, well, over the course of the next week or so, we're going to hear a lot of guys. I do think they were pretty open about the defensive tackles, that like they got a bunch of them, and that there's not a lot of rhyme or reason right now for maybe the roles that's going to be figured out. Give me something else. If someone's like, hey man, I'm running out the door, I heard you talk about Grayson Littleton, and holy crap, that is interesting. But give me number 2.
I just have a lot of notes here. Andre Kojo didn't work in with the first team at all at right tackle. That looks like it's this Brandon Baker's deal.
That's interesting because Kojo yesterday, Flood specifically said it's a battle between Kojo and Baker.
Well, sometimes they say there's a battle, and then their actions.
Right. Lowercase b battle.
Yeah. I think that, I thought something that's interesting is that Jonathan Cunningham, or I guess Deuce Cunningham, as they called him yesterday, like he's listed as a linebacker, but he's working out with the safeties and the nickels. So I don't know what that's all about.
Alex, that's funny because Chad and I talked about him earlier today on the noon show, because when moving Spence over to edge full-time, it only leaves him with 6 linebackers on scholarship. And one of them is Cunningham, whose name I couldn't remember earlier today.
Oh, okay. Well,
now you're telling us he may go to the DBs.
Yeah. That's where
he's built. He's a true linebacker tweener from like a body composition, Chad. That does not completely shock me, but that is actually really interesting to see if that continues for reasons of, if I was him, I would want to play linebacker instead of in the secondary, because there ain't but 5 other linebackers, and there's like 19 guys in the secondary. A bunch of them were 5 stars, and a bunch of them were 5 stars, and they can't get on the field either. So, and then you got guys like Grayson Littleton cutting in front of the line.
Yeah.
That's not insignificant. Alex, one of the things I was talking about, Chad, is that in the NFL, cut down date is such a big deal because you've got the roster, and it's about who doesn't make the team. Unofficially, we'll get to like the 10th of August, and the 2 deep will kind of be unofficially set. And I just feel like there's 2 groups of players. There's guys that are on the 2 deep, and then there are like freshmen that aren't going to play. And
right.
Everybody else is in that, what am I doing? What's my role going to be? Like, and it's, and it's funny to see how that shakes out, because I think some of these early notes tell us things about who may end up being in that pile of guys that don't make the 2 deep.
Yeah, well, clearly, I think that there's a lot you can take away from that, and then it's just something. It probably doesn't mean much, but I thought it was interesting that CJ Baxter's out here. He does, like you mentioned, have that brace and kind of the sleeve on his leg thing. But I was watching from across the street before practice when they were doing the offensive sort of walkthrough stuff, and they went with like the 3s first, and then the 2s, and then the 1s finally. And when it was the 1s out there, it was CJ Baxter with those guys. It was just walkthrough. But I felt I'm like, well, it's got to be symbolic of something. That whenever it's the ones out there and it's Arch Manning handing the ball off in these walkthroughs, he's handing it off to CJ Baxter.
It's the symbolic of the love of a head coach, Alex. That's what it's symbolic of.
I guess.
Pure love.
Hey, man, he didn't stop being Sarkisian's boo just because that ACL ruptured.
That's it. That is it. All right, guys, we did get a super chat in. Alex, I'll have you do half of this one because the other half is completely unfair. We are not burying someone, Jareth, on the first day of practice who seemed not to meet expectations.
T-shirts and shorts.
We're not doing that one. We're not doing that. Just the first part, Alex. Who's the most impressive today and why? Ketch and I talked about earlier. This is that, getting off the bus day. This is Torrey Becton's day to shine. Show me what you did with these guys in summer workouts. Who's the all looks the part team today? Did anybody really stand out in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, Wingo.
Okay.
Wingo. It's just he's something else. This 2027 NFL draft class of wide receivers it's going to be something else, man. With with Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith and what Wingo's just he's going to put himself right. He's so fast. He's so big. He catches everything. He's the team's clear
good football player, that's the thing with him.
And you notice today, whenever it's just it's just these routes versus air and stuff. But the fact that whenever his hands are so big, it's like he's got that. I remember when I was at Odell Beckham Jr.'s pro day, and I would just be like, dude, it sounds like he's just kind of sucks the ball up with his hands. You know what I mean? It's like a vacuum. And it feels the same with Wingo. And I think one of the reasons he's so good with the ball, and he's so fast and so big, but he's got these hands, and the way he frames the football and the way he does it whenever, even against air, where you can tell, this dude's framing the football in a way to where his first step upfield is going to be one that sets him up for big run after catch, right? And you can just see it in his technique. I think, Gooseby would be another one that's kind of like, man, it was like last year I came, I'm like, gosh, Gooseby looks so much better. This year I came, I'm like, gosh, Gooseby looks so much better. And I'd say that, didn't get to see him much today, but I just thought that if you just look at the rest of the defensive line and the rest of kind of how these guys operate and just move against these bags and in the shoots and stuff like that, Murad Watson seems like he's as twitched up or more twitched up than any of the rest of them. So if I were just doing it based on looks, I would say, okay, you play Cole Brevard at nose, you play Murad Watson defensive tackle whenever you go out there versus Ohio State. With that being said, it was just that's just like you said, off the bus team. It's kind of the way it looks to me.
All right, Money B asked about the one I was talking about earlier too. Did you get a look at Jordan Washington? See what the bigger version of that dude looks like?
Yes, yeah. It's funny, man. I was like the one note I had. So he's running actually ahead of injuries. So he's running in the group that has Emmett Mosley, Ryan Niblett, and Aaron Butler. Whenever they're going through drills.
Okay.
Whereas injuries is running with the group that's got like Khalik Lockett, Jamie French, McCutcheon. So more like the third group. The one thing I said about, I didn't know, like you can only watch so much, but the one thing I did notice was he weighs like 260 something now. And to me, my note was when I saw the new guy, Nick Townsend, I think that's Townsend. Is Townsend number 81?
Yes,
yeah.
I believe so.
Whenever I saw Nick Townsend, I was like, he doesn't look that like him and Jordan Washington standing together look about the same size. So to answer Money B's question, no, I didn't. The weight that he's put on is obviously good weight. It's good mass because he doesn't appear like he's put on he looks about like the 240 pounder. To me, it's like there's not that big of a difference in them physically.
Okay.
Alex, I've got a few quick hitters, and then we'll let you go so that you can finish up your Orange Bloods report. We won't keep you forever. We kind of adjusted on the fly based on the fact that our guy Cody Carpentier is stuck at an airport someplace, and this isn't exactly how we drew it up. In the event that anybody on Orange Bloods is mad at Alex right this very second because his report will come out 15 minutes later. Real quick. Your first eyeballs of Emmett Mosley. Give me 10 seconds on him.
Really, kind of what I thought. Little thicker than I thought. weirdly, man, but tangent, but so is DeAndre Moore. That guy, I looked at him, and me and Mama were saying that guy looks like Amon-Ra St. Brown this year. His quads are crazy.
Wow.
But
Hey, Alex, yesterday, back to Coach Jackson. Coach Jackson talked about the physicality of all those 4 main receivers that he liked, where they weren't giving up physicality like they did with, say, Worthy and Bond.
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, just really good ball tracking, good speed, good hands. Didn't ever see him drop one, and just very coordinated. Just a good athlete, good player. I mean, I really do think that it's going to be the four guys. It's going to. I mean, Wingo looks like the total alpha, but DeAndre Moore is like the veteran presence, the dude who's probably the leader of the group from just a personality and just leadership standpoint. And then it just feels like Livingstone and Mosley, those two are maybe on a different level than all the rest. So, yeah, I think that Emmett Mosley looks really good. I would just say fast, bigger than I thought, extremely coordinated, good hands.
My first off the bus curiosity guy was Brandon Baker. You mentioned he mostly exclusively ran with the ones ahead of Andre Kojo. Just compared to last year, Brandon Baker's body is what from 12 months ago?
Well, he's always been a little bit slender with really big paws on him, big feet, big hands, and it felt like this year whenever we saw him getting into his pass set and whenever we saw them working the inside zone run drills today, I thought the feet weren't getting caught up the same way that they were, just better feet. He looks like he has better feet, maybe a little bit more toned up, but he's always, dude. I mean, he's always looked really good, just physically. He last year when he came in, I would have said he looks like a guy who could come in and start. I think that the feet are better this year, though.
Alex, the DNs, what were the groupings? Considering they just moved Spence, I'm curious the order and how they paired up.
So it was Ethan Burke and Colin Simmons, and then it was Colton Vosick and Zena Yamuzulo. And then after I guess after that third group during pursuit drills was I couldn't get it. The only thing I know about that third group is that it was Josiah Sharma and Justice Terry as the 2 inside defensive line guys. I'll have some of the secondary for that group, but from where I was standing, I couldn't. I would imagine that Spence was the edge guy with that group, and
Jeez,
I would guess
just so many guys.
Yeah, I would guess that. Who would have been? Maybe Lance Jackson would have been on the other side.
Or Smith or Rogbo. Those are the only other guys.
It would have been Rogbo because he was with the 4s.
Okay,
I'll bet it. I'll bet it was Lance. I'll bet it was Lance Jackson. But that's a good. I'll try and get more of that verified tomorrow.
Is there a better pairing of third-team edge players in the country right now than
Spence? Would have been almost a probably third-team All SEC returner for Arkansas last year. And Lance Jackson. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Okay, so the 2s at defensive tackle, if it was Shaw and Canoe, was it Brevard in January?
Yes, it was Brevard in January.
Okay, and then Lavon Johnson and Murad Watson with the 3s.
No, I think they were. The 3s was Sharma and Justice Terry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that will be another position. They got 10 dudes on scholarship right now. Good luck.
Alex, since you just mentioned him, Sailor Joe said, I know he's a freshman, but Justice Terry, I heard he was in 2 positions today. Anything stand out about Terry?
Not when we were maybe, you know what? Maybe before practice started, he might have been at end, but during the whole practice, he was working out with Coach Baker. During the whole practice that I was there. And Coach Baker, he told me yesterday, he said, dude, every day it's going to be I got to go talk with Coach Clark, and we're just going to have to figure out what the plan is for Justice today. We're going to do it every day. And so I think the plan for Justice today, at least during the portions of practice that we were there, was to work him out on the interior defensive line. But I think he's right. I think that before practice, when I was peeking over there and watching some of the team walkthrough stuff, like I was saying, where Cedric Baxter was out there with the first group, I do think that Justice Terry was with the 2s or the 3s playing defensive end.
Gotcha. Okay.
Last couple of things I wanted to throw out there just from the look, let's end it where we started. If you're just tuning in, because we're live, and maybe if you're watching the whole thing, well, thank you. But if you're just tuning in live, the number one point that we kind of pointed out, talking point coming out of practice, besides the fact that Arch was slaying it around to Ryan Wingo, and even if it was against air, touchdown. True freshman Grayson Littleton, who Alex pointed out literally as it was clicking through my brain, he was not going to be at Texas in the spring. He wasn't even listed as one of the early enrollers. Yeah. And then one day it was like, Grayson Littleton's name got dropped. It was like, what, wait a minute, what? And they're like, oh, no, Grayson Littleton, dude, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, he last second came in. He's one of they were going to have 5 guys that weren't there. They only had 4. And Nick Townsend was one of them. That guy has gone from, we thought today was going to be his first practice with the team when he signed, to today he rolled out and was running first team nickel in the secondary. It could mean a lot of things. It could be day one. It could mean tomorrow he could be running with the 2s and they could rotate guys around. But today was today, and that's what it was. It was Jalen Gilbo and Malik Muhammad on the 2 outside corner spots. Mm-hmm. It was Jelani McDonald and Mookie Taff at the 2 safety spots with Grayson Littleton running in the nickel. Is it as obvious that the loser there is Kobe Black and or Derek Williams? If we were going to pick if that were to stick, that's bad for player X. Who's player X for you, Alex?
Number 2, Derek Williams.
Yeah.
Because Kobe Black was the one that we had just heard. He's looking like he could make a push. Like Derek Williams was an entrenched starter and a guy that we thought at one point early in his career would be a 3-year and gone kind of guy. It's interesting to think about, like, if we just play this thing out for the rest of camp, whether it is just him like, hey, dude, you didn't play all spring. We're going to get you back in. But dude, if that's the case, do you know what it shows? It shows that if they would bump Jelani back down to star, right, nickel, and put Derek Williams back there, it goes to show, and they like Jelani better than they like Grayson Littleton, which I would think that they probably do. If that were to be the case, then it would at least show you. It's really at least show you that Grayson Littleton, this guy that didn't get much fanfare as a recruit. I think he's from Florida. That he's overtaking guys like Wardell Mack already. Jordan Johnson Rebel, like these guys that have been around the program for a little while, they've played nickel. They say they want to get involved there. It's like that guy's like they call out for the ones. Guess who runs over there for the ones? Like Littleton does. So it's like, I think it has to mean something. Honestly, I'd be surprised. Nothing surprises me really anymore. But I mean, I'd probably be a little bit surprised if we got into the Ohio State week and it's that dude rolling out at nickel corner. But then again, it's like, this is what, this is the start of, we're just here to report what's happening. Like that's what's happening out on the field today.
Wow. And Chad, just to follow that up, and then we'll let Alex go and maybe just wrap up. When you look at, it's just really interesting to me because the message, look, what did Alex tell us earlier? It may have just been handoffs, and you don't want to overreact to day one, but CJ Baxter was getting some run with the ones. And we know that Trey Wisner's first team all SEC preseason. The coaches love him. Whatever putting CJ Baxter in the backfield was not like a referendum on their love of Trey Wisner. Like, we know they love those guys, right? It's just, they're going to put their first 5 guys on the field. And they could have easily, if the thought is, look, bottom line, when we go to Columbus, Jelani McDonald's going to play nickel because we think Derek Williams is one of our best 5. Or if Kobe Black were to play so well that Jalen Gilbo, they were like, well, our best 2 outside corners are Malik Muhammad and Kobe Black. And Gilbo is no longer one of the top 2 outside guys. You think Gilbo's the guy that slides back in. There's a real sliding glass door thing that's going on with right now as of today, just today, Grayson Littleton is holding down that nickel spot. And when he's there and the other guys are where they're at, they're telling us today Grayson Littleton's one of our 5 best guys. And in order for the chess pieces to move around, because it wouldn't be as simple as if Kobe Black takes a job that Gilbo's just the third corner or Muhammad's just the third corner. It's about finding the best 5 guys. We've just not had a conversation all offseason where we said first day of practice, when the ones roll out, Littleton will be with the nickel. It just isn't what we thought. And, I'll do all kinds of brain tweezers, Chad, about the different permutations of the way the secondary could look. I'm fascinated by, if you look at the scholarship board at the cornerback position, there are 9 guys on scholarship. And if you look at the recruiting board, it's Gilbo's a senior. He's all by himself. Malik Muhammad's a junior. He's all by himself. Kobe Black and Roberson are sophomores. They're by themselves. Wardell Mack and Santana Wilson are redshirt freshmen. They're in their own little group. You go over to redshirt or true freshmen, and on the scholarship board, it's Caleb Chester, Cade Phillips, and way at the bottom is Grayson Littleton.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looks like this shouldn't be happening, and yet here we are. He might as well be on the thumbnail of the video.
And we'll keep an eye on it, but you might want to move Wardell Mack to safety. He was working with the safeties and the nickels today, so just
interesting to know. These are all things that will go over to orangebloods.com where the scholarship board changes daily. Alex, get out of here. Go do your thing. Thanks for joining us. Chad and I will wrap up the show and let you get on to the many other duties you have. Chad, as we wrap up.
Yeah, Jay wants to let's sneak this real quick. Says how many and when substitutions happen are over my head, but there shouldn't be a problem getting all these combos of our front 7 on the field, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, maybe. They got 10 D tackles and they got 7 edge players.
Yeah.
And I guess I would say this, Jay, who are, of the 17 defensive linemen they have, for 12 spots on the 3 deep, who do we least want to see play? Melvin Hills is probably the defensive tackle. I hate to say it, but when the coaches said the transfers and Alex, they left Melvin Hills out, not me.
Yeah. The other thing, Catch, that came into my head as you were going through some of this defensive stuff, let's also remember, I don't know how much of this it could be, but think about Dwayne Aquina, despite the fact that he's been around a while, a new coach on this staff. The nickel coach is new, right? They now have a specific nickel coach. Alan Clark is the edge coach.
No.
I also kind of wonder, not that you'd let your new coaches mess around in the first practice, but is this maybe we're going to trust our new coaches a little bit to have a discussion on, hey, I want to see this guy early on. I'm not telling you I'm playing him in Columbus, but let me get a look. It's 100.
There's a difference between doing that and all day long when they yelled 1s and 3s go here and 2s and 4s go there. And Littleton, according to Alex, every single rep is with the 1s. That's notable. I don't expect that to change tomorrow.
It definitely is. Now what we need to see is, could it also be something where, because his name was called the entire session, who are they trying to send messages to? This could be, you like to talk about when a coach says something to the media, sometimes he's sending a message to a player. Could something like that also be a message to 1 or 2 players that we mentioned in this show today? Like, hey, fellas, this is what's happening. The freshman is the guy in day 1. Do you want to change that in day 2 and 3 and 4?
Well, look, Mookie Taff is going to be on the field. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to imagine a world where Michael Taff lost his job. Fair?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, totally agree.
So the other safety spot is a Jelani McDonald, Derek Williams battle to get on the field.
Yeah.
And, I wonder if those guys deep down, because I remember when we were when Gilbo was a true freshman and did the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the report that day was, dude, Gilbo's running in front of Jahdae Barron in the nickel with the first team every snap. It's not what we thought was going to happen. It's what happened. And I remember, like, one of the things you start asking yourself is, how good is this guy really? Because if they had told us earlier today that Jonah Williams was running with the ones, we would have gone, he really is a freak of nature, isn't he?
Right.
How many other true freshmen rolled out with the ones today, Chad? None.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't hear the whole rundown, but
there was none. There were none. It's the answer is none. It's the reason why I asked it. It's the one pop quiz question I knew you would pass, because otherwise we probably would have talked about that freshman a whole bunch.
Right.
So that the nation's #1 recruiting class is all together on campus now, all participating in practice. I don't think any were held out due to injury. I'm looking at the list. I don't remember anybody like deliberately being held out. Really impressive. Look, no matter what happens moving forward, nice work, Grayson Littleton. I mean,
and coming up when the questions start, and by the way, Anwar Richardson, of course, over there reporting for Orange Bloods. Look for his stuff on orangebloods.com coming up. And Sark is going to meet with the media after this first practice catch. There's no way there's not a Grayson Littleton question if everybody was paying attention to some degree.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, wrap us up, Chad.
All right. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, getting those notifications. We will do a similar thing tomorrow, the normal shows, and we'll try to work in a reaction show as well for that Thursday practice. They're going to give the media a little more of a window. By the way, UT, hey, nice job on day one. Give them a nice little window. Does this mean you're probably going to shut down other windows? Maybe, but we believe in you. We believe that you can give the media, including Alex Dunlap, the looks that he wants. So thanks to Alex for jumping in. The Grayson Littleton story, really interesting, and we'll continue to monitor it. Go up to the upper left, that QR code, scan it, get in there, orangebloods.com. How much for a week just to see what it is, Catch? How much?
$1.
$1. $1. It might be in the cushions of your couch right now. Get it. 4 quarters works too. Doesn't have to be paper. 4 quarters works too. 10 dimes as well. For a week, see what it's all about. Then you'll want to get signed up forever and be on orangebloods.com. That's the way it works. Check out all the stuff there. We'll be back tomorrow with the shows. And also tomorrow we'll debut some shows in the morning. Prize Picks returning. Check it out for Prize Picks fans, outsiders, all kinds of stuff. And be sure to check out the video and short section of that page as well. Y'all take care. Texas practice is official.